Senator John Kelly, 10 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, I want to welcome the Minister to the House again. He's always been very accommodating. I don't wish to personalise this debate in relation to the abolition of the Seanad, but I do believe that the Taoiseach has made this very personal. I think he's made it very personal to all of us, because all of us here are hard-working senators, and we take our job very seriously. He's also made it personal to people in this House with certain expertise, something that you couldn't buy in this House. And, you know, the serious debate by people with expertise in this House has been excellent. The contributions have been excellent, and if only they were being listened to, you know, we might realise that we're more worth reform than abolition. I also think that the Taoiseach has made it very personal to his 11 nominees, because I know when the 11 nominees were appointed to this House, they were absolutely overwhelmed. And I think they believed that the Taoiseach actually valued their independent views and expertise. But within a very few short months of appointing them, he totally devalued them. Before ever they got into their stride, he now decided they needed to be abolished. And I actually think, Minister, that that's shameful. I think the Taoiseach was in Glinties before the last election, and he made it quite clear that he was given his categoric support for the retention of Seanad Éireann and reform of it. And this is all what we want as well. Then, at the same time, my party leader was riding high in the personality polls, so the Taoiseach decided to go with this populist nonsense and advocate the abolition of the Seanad. Now, I don't believe that that's democracy, Minister. I do not believe. And I would ask the question, if that was not the reason that the Taoiseach did that at that time, what was the reason? What changed from him in a very few short months wanting to retain Seanad Éireann to wanting to abolish it? I'd love to know the reason. Unfortunately, he's not here today to answer that question. I also have to laugh at the debate that's ongoing, or had been ongoing in the last week in the Dáil, watching my colleagues from Labour and Fine Gael, most of whom are advocating now, they're being rolled out to advocate the abolition of the Seanad. And most of them, like yourself, Minister, were previous senators of this House. And I just wonder, when they were senators in this House in the last term, did they at any stage call for reform of the Seanad? And did they at any stage call for abolition of the Seanad? And I believe at no stage they did. However, they are acknowledging that the Dáil needs oversight, that it does need oversight. And what they're now looking for is for the TDs to have more power in committee, and they want extra resources to fund that. And I ask the question, how much in extra resources? Because last week or the week before, while watching Prime Time, an expert said that the savings by abolition of the Seanad is 4.2 million. And no doubt the plan that the TDs have will be to get 4.2 million of extra resources for themselves. So we'll end up with no savings. And in the past in this House, Minister, we have been critical of Gardaí investigating Gardaí. But what the Taoiseach and the elite four that's running this country want is TDs to be overseeing TDs. And that is not accountability and proper accountability. And can I also, Minister, get a pledge from yourself and many other present TDs that are advocating the abolition of the Seanad, that if the people see through this proposal, which I expect they will, and vote to retain Seanad Éireann, will those TDs that are advocating the abolition of the Seanad promise me and everybody else here that they will not look for a seat in Seanad Éireann, considering that they consider it a useless place to work? Now, I'm not trying to save Seanad Éireann for myself, Minister, because I honestly believe there are going to be enough of casualties after the next election that I'll be well down the ladder for consideration. But I do believe in proper accountability. I was also intrigued, Minister, as to why the Taoiseach blamed the Seanad for doing nothing about the excesses of the Celtic Tiger. And I tried to analyse his wording when he said that. The only thing he can be suggesting by that is suggesting that the Fianna Fáil senators of the day should have voted against the Fianna Fáil government of the day. That's the only thing I can assume he was suggesting. Now, That's the ideal scenario we'd all like to be in this House, where we'd have a free vote and a conscience vote, particularly on the abortion bill. But that isn't the way it works. So what he said really was nonsense. And I just want to put it on the record. I wasn't in this House during the last term of the Seanad. But the Fine Gael were in this House during the last Dáil. And Fine Gael voted for the bank guarantee in this House. And my party, the Labour Party, did not vote for it. So should we be looking for the abolition of Fine Gael because of what they did, and not the abolition of the Seanad?
Right.
And as was pointed out by Senator O'Claherty,